So that's sort of covering the wide array of topics from your wife's baby thing, sleep, baby sleeping, or I'm thinking sleep apnea, getting 3 naps a day, to guys with fake penises at probation, to strip clubs, to my boy Cliff, right, to the dental area. Yeah, but there's
yeah, I was just gonna tell you, I saw this meme. You know, I try to stay off social media as much as I can and just do it for work, but you know, we're all addicted. Let's be honest, we're all addicted to it. But I saw this meme that said basically, tag your friend that looks humble and innocent, but has a very dirty mind. And I was like, man, I could think of a few people. You know, we can go there.
I could. One of my best friends, or my. As soon as you said that, I was like,
you saw a face.
I was like, I saw a face.
I saw a face.
Oh my goodness. So yeah, maybe we'll do a podcast and stuff. I mean, that's where we're on our way to right now. The mystery guest.
Mystery guest. It's going to be an interview. We're not even calling it a podcast yet because Roger doesn't want to commit to that yet. But I think there's a lot of value in Roger's stories. Maybe not the one we just had, or not all of them, but some of them have value. He's got a lot of good insight, good information. He's got you know, wisdom beyond his age is the way I.
What does Saria say? My best friend says, he goes, sometimes you're like a 78-year-old man with like your wisdom. And then he goes, with your temper tantrums and your mood swings, you're like a 7-year-old or a 6-year-old.
I haven't experienced that yet, but you know,
that's the mental breakdowns when you. Oh,
don't forget gas.
Yeah, that's an important thing. We're down to 20 miles, but we're 5 miles from the office, so we'll probably get it after. Because then I can just cut it if it's something. Because I just got to, you know what the truth is what I really need to do is set this up so when I'm talking, because like me, I'm extremely judgmental of myself, right? And what, like, of how I look, of how I talk, and I'll look back at a video and go, why did I use that word? Like,
you have so many videos with so many hits and views, and they're all like this. You know, you're using a phone, you're using a GoPro. You know, even if you did get a GoPro permanently to set up here, and you could take your calls, and that way you can do the video and take the call. Well, I guess you can't do that, right?
Saria wants me to get the, you know, remember he's doing the cat, not Batman, but Catman. Catmandu.
Do your part.
Do your part. So check that out. Listen, guys.
Catmandu.
You got to go on YouTube and put it up. It's really cool. Saria's saying that I should get one of these cameras that it records back, forward, and it could even record in your car. He gave me a. Oh,
you're talking about the driving cams, dash cams.
Because a lot of times when I'm talking, I usually cut the video for these things, but I'm like, son of a... And then I'll say things like, that's why I don't handle traffic tickets anymore. Because some idiot that's weaving in and out of traffic at 100 miles an hour when everyone else is doing 45, I don't want to help that guy. I don't want to be like, Your Honor, he's a nice guy, here's the technical argument, and then win. I don't want to do that. I know that means my first boss said, actually my first 2 bosses said, you'll never be a good defense attorney. One said, you're too nice with the prosecution.
You're too honest.
And the other one said, because I can't remember anybody's name. And I don't. I can remember every story ever, but I can't remember a name. Like, we're going to see the client right now. I can't even remember the freaking guy's name. I definitely can't spell it.
Well, we can't say it just yet.
So, but, anyway, what do you think about those cameras? Because you can do one outside, inside.
So like, the thing with the little cams, dash cams like that, they're not made for you to look good on camera. They're just made to capture footage. So I think that, you know, like a little Insta 360, it's got the 1/8 sensor, so it's gonna get good footage. Or, you know, a GoPro, or one of these little cameras that can be set up as dash cams will do you better.
You know, it's like, I admire your knowledge. I appreciate your friendship more than words could ever say.
Likewise.
You helped me set up my green screen room. You was like, get this, get that. Do you know I have not used
it?
I have
haven't
not
used
even
it.
used it, dude.
I know.
I used it the one day you came over to film, and
it's blasphemous.
It is blasphemous.
You almost should just give that camera to your wife, and maybe she'll become a photographer on the side.
That one of my clients asked me that yesterday. He goes, "You have a photographer?" Like in my mind, I'm thinking like, I just given him really good news, right? He had a firearms case, and I'm going to be able to get him into diversion and happy thing. And I was so excited because I was prepping, I had my notes, I had my stuff ready to go, and as soon as I'm walking out of the courtroom, I'm calling this guy like I convinced him, we're going to do this, and like he doesn't answer, and then he doesn't answer again. Then I email, he doesn't answer. I'm like, what the hell? So he calls me at like 9:15 at night, and I see the name come up because even though the law office, we're closed, but I can see the phone. It rings to my cell, and I pick it up and I go, brother, I'm really a good attorney. Like I'm answering the phone at like 9:15 or whatever it is. He's like, well, he goes, what number did you call? And I'm like, what number did I call? Like the number that you gave me on your intake sheet. He's like, oh, I got a business number, and then I got another number, and I'm like, okay. So I don't know, we're talking. And I tell him, and I said, well, don't jump for the moon or anything. I mean, we just went from like prison to your case is going to get dismissed, but don't celebrate now. It's 9:15 on a Wednesday night. And he goes, and I said, well, what are you doing? He does some stuff with film too. That's what he's doing, production for like Fox or something.
Oh wow.
So he said yesterday.
And he's a felon?
No, he's not a felon. He's a really good guy.
Okay.
But he was accused of a felony, and
Gotcha.
Sometimes good guys do bad things, or good guys get caught in bad situations.
Yeah.
And then they come to someone like me, and I make sure that that's known. I got a big mouth. Dentist says the same thing. But anyway, he says to me, we're talking, and he's telling me about the Fox thing and this and that, and he goes, just out of like, do you have a photographer? Huh? Mary, do you have a photographer?
For what though?
That's what I was. I didn't know where that
So-
came from. I was like, he goes, do you have it? This is like 9:15 last night. I'm like,
Where was that going after? I mean,
yeah. And he goes, I go, a photographer?
does he need one? Does he want you to have one?
And he's like, and I go, I just said no because I don't, right? And if I don't understand something, it means that I don't have it, right? So when I read an application, it says blah, 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 blah. And like, are you? And I go, what does that mean? If I don't know what it means I don't have it. That's good tip when you're filling out applications. If you don't know the answer, it's no. If you don't know what it is, you just say no, you don't have it.
Right.
Anyway, so I go, no. He goes, oh, well, I'm doing some photography. I was like, all right, so
Okay.
maybe. Maybe because I was saying, hey, when you really like, when you're bringing it home, when you're doing production movies, I was like, it could be. I am worthy of a movie to some extent.
I think so. I think so.
I mean, but by the time anyone recognizes my skills, I get, I've always had this thing where back in high school and elementary school and junior high, let's say junior high, right? People would be like, Montana back to pass, Marino back to pass. And I would literally say, Foley back to pass. And they were like, dude, you think you're like Montana and Marino? I go, no, but they're just people. Like, I mean, if they can do it, I can do it. And that's gotten me so far. I've never become famous. I've never been able to read a defense. I ended up, messing up my shoulder, and I decided to play running back in college at Alabama, which my hip and back are still hurting from that. But I think that having that attitude of like, hey, that's another person. I respect, everybody and what they do and what they bring to the table. But I always go, I'm not sure what he's doing or what he's doing. So wouldn't it be so he blows the cop blows the light.
I guess he just needed to get through.
So that's the kind of stuff that I'd like to have on camera, right? So they could kind of see that. But anyway, just going back to like having a thought process. If you see somebody do something, you go, I can do that. You know, like, I mean, not necessarily like.
Those words get me in trouble in my house.
What are you watching, The Bachelor? and then you say, I can do that.
I grew up with the same mentality. I mean, I grew up watching my dad, my uncles fix just about anything and everything. And basically, the idea was that if somebody built it, well, I could learn how to build it too. And that, you know, I used that towards everything. When I needed to learn about cameras, I learned about cameras. When I needed to learn about lighting, I learned about lighting, editing, you know, and so on and so on. Whereas a production crew has a camera guy, has a lighting guy, has a audio guy, you know, like, that's great, you know. And you know, I've worked with people like that, but I still want to know what they do. I'm still curious, you know. No matter how far I get, I'm still always going to be curious. I still want to know myself how to do something.
So you're a firm believer that if you want to succeed, you can.
Yeah, absolutely.
And part of success is
American dream. If we're talking about the American dream, I mean, my parents are foreigners. My parents came to the United States in search for a better life, and you know, cliche, traditional American dream story. You know,
legally or illegally?
Legally, 100%. My dad was legal, put in papers. We did it right. Absolutely, 100% legally, and if there's a will, there's a way.
Man. I listen. Every client that comes in, right? Part of understanding who they are, right? For whatever it is, whether it's a car accident case or some kind of injury or a criminal case, I have to know them, right? And there's so many jobs or markets, you know, however you phrase it. I learn a little bit from each person. So like I really haven't mastered, you know, anything. I've mastered listening to other people and then kind of doing research and go, oh, that's interesting. But every client that comes in, I go, hey, what do you do? Oh, you do whatever it is. And, oh, how did you get into that? Like I want to know the story behind it. So it's and a lot of it comes down to an interest or a passion, a desire to do something, they weren't financially capable of doing something that they wanted to do, so they learned it on their own. And then yesterday on my YouTube channel, I was asking a question and someone said, hey, that's just not how it is. We even give out, because I was talking about pride. Yesterday I did a little quick 3-minute short video about, I saw the mailman. And the mailman's car, the car was so dirty, and I'm like, oh, it's weird. I've been in a post office lately; it's dirty. I've seen, you know, attorneys with disheveled clothing. Cars are a mess. People are rude to other people. Right? All these negative things. I'm like, hey, where's the pride? And some guy, you know, posted on the page, and he goes, hey, that time is gone. Like that America's gone. And I'm like, I don't think it is.
I disagree.
But I do think that we are in a decline of a habit where. And he said. No, you get and I couldn't even tell honestly, and it's probably my lack of understanding. He recommended a book or two, and he said that there's even trophies for last place, and I do not believe in trophies at last place. I didn't believe it in football, track, boxing, because when I lost, I wanted to analyze why I lost, and I wanted to work harder to acquire a trophy.
I agree.
And I have seen people, I'm going to tell one short story of, was it 9th grade? 9th grade. I go out for basketball. Everybody knows I could really run fast. I always could run fast. I could not. I met some guy, and the weekend before, for 2 hours on a Saturday and 2 hours on a Sunday, he showed me how to dribble a basketball. I'd never done it. Never even had a basketball. So I go out to try out for the high school basketball team. It comes down to me and a guy who's about 6'9". I'm not going to say his name because honestly I don't remember it. Right? But we're down to and he is horrible. Like, he can't run fast. He can't dribble fast. He can't shoot. I can't really shoot either, but I could run fast. And I'm just thinking, like, in my mind, I'm going, I'm an athlete. Like, the coach has to take me because I'm the athlete. I was wrong. The coach took this gentleman. I'm not kidding, he's like 6'9". So I understand that it is basketball, but I'm 6'3" guy at the time, right? I watched this guy. Right near my house was a basketball hoop. It was called the Rec Center in Central Islip. And I would see this kid go there. And I had never met him before. And then I'd start, hey man, I'm just practicing, man. I'm not good. Just very humble, soft-spoken brother from Central Islip, New York. Not only did he become a starter, he went to college on a
Full ride.
And I believe he played professional basketball.
Wow.
And you know why? Coach saw something in him.
And nobody gave him a handout.
And no one gave him a handout. And we were the last two people. Look, no one likes to get up on the video and go, I wasn't the last guy to get picked. I just didn't get picked, right? But this young man, hour after hour, like after class, like that's what he would do. He'd just go to the basketball thing and just practice it. And I just remember driving by on my scooter, on my bicycle, and I'm like, dude, he can't even hit the rim. And he's almost touching the rim because he's so tall.
I think.
But because of that,
yeah,
he strived to be better and then went past the last pick to like the first pick.
I had a similar conversation actually now that I have kids about my son. We put him in gymnastics, we're gonna put him in more activities, more sports, and I don't want him to get a trophy just for participating. I don't want that. And there's a lot of places that will do that because, the kids feel bad and this and that. Well, no, that doesn't teach them anything. That teaches them that it's okay to be mediocre, that it's not necessary to work hard to gain that trophy. And if you're used to handouts from a very young age, then you grow up to be an adult that's used to getting handouts. So the hard work is out the window. And then, then you get, adults that don't want to be the doctors and the lawyers, and don't want to do anything except for take pictures of themselves and make money on Instagram, or, I'm going to get a lot of hate for that one, but
no, whatever you create or do or can produce, right? If there's an avenue for it that can make money, God bless you.
Right.
But don't you want to be the best you can be? And this person wrote on my YouTube channel, it's not about being the best, it's everybody's equal. Now, I understand from a rights perspective, from racial perspective, I get I get the equalness, but I don't think, I even wrote on the thing, I go, equal, like, someone is going to get a better video shot. Someone's going to be able to fix a fender better, right? Like align something. Someone's going to be able to create something better, do something better. Like we're not equal. Right. We start out, in God's eyes, we are equal, right? One job is not better, Like I tell people all the time, like they're like, "Oh, you're a lawyer," and I'm like, "Yeah, it's like same as any other job. Like it's not like it's what our society makes things like."
If you take away competition from society, then there won't be the better lawyers or the better videographers or the better anythings, because there's no competition. You're taking away the only thing that pushes people to make better things for people to purchase or service to provide, whatever it might be. That competition has to exist.
I think that at minimum, and this is what I wrote, was that we have to have a minimum standard. And and it's got to be an objective standard that every community agrees to, every race, religion goes, that's the minimum. You can't go below that, right? Because right now we have these issues in our society where people go, oh, well, that's because of this or because of that.
Excuses.
And we need a standard, and we all need to agree. And that's what the law tries to do. But, it falters at times. And
that flows into a whole category of things, I can think of, personally from my life and people and the way I was raised and brought up. But, you can't, you can't always play a victim, you know, like, you know, and I believe that you're a victim of your environment, but at the same time, you're responsible for your actions. So, you know, needless to say, I didn't grow up with a lot of money. I don't think Roger did either, based on some of the stories he's told me. And I think that that's what motivated us to do better, or to want to do better at least. And you can't blame your parents. You can't do that. You, at some point, you know the difference between right and wrong. You know what you need to do as an adult to be a functioning adult. You know, these aren't secrets. These are things that you may not have learned as a child, but you will eventually learn.
You can watch Little House on the Prairie and understand honor and ethics.
Exactly. You know, these things are out there, and not just, you know, from your family.
Well, we'll get back to you. We're getting to the office now. See you.